Yes, Al said. I was scared. Of your brother? Tess asked, either unbelieving or not wanting to believe. Scared of your kid brother? Not him, Al Strook said. Her. 39. When Tess got back in her car and started the motor, Tom said. There was no way you could know, Tess. And it all happened so fast. That was true, but it ignored the central looming fact: by going after her rapist like a vigilante in a movie, she had sent herself to hell. She raised the gun to her temple, then lowered it again. She couldn't, not now. She still had an obligation to the women in the pipe, and any other women who might join them if Lester Strook escaped. And after what she had just done, it was more important than ever that he not escape. She had one more stop to make. But not in her expedition. 40. The driveway at 101 Township Road wasn't long, and it wasn't paved. It was just a pair of ruts with bushes growing close enough to scrape the sides of the blue F-150 pickup truck as she drove it up to the little house. Nothing neat about this one. This one was a huddled old creep manse that could have been straight out of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. How life did imitate art, sometimes. And the cruder the art, the closer the imitation. Tess made no attempt at stealth. Why bother to kill the headlights when Lester Strook would know the sound of his brother's truck almost as well as the sound of his brother's voice? She was still wearing the bleach-splattered brown cap Big Driver wore when he wasn't on the road, the lucky cap that turned out to be unlucky in the end. The ring with the fake ruby stone was far too big for any of her fingers, so she had put it into the left front pocket of her cargo pants. Little Driver had dressed and driven as his big brother when he went out hunting, and while he might never have time enough, or brains enough, to appreciate the irony of his last victim coming to him with the same accessories, Tess did. She parked by the back door, turned off the engine, and got out. She carried the gun in one hand. The door was unlocked. She stepped into a shed that smelled of beer and spoiled food. A single 60-watt bulb hung from the ceiling on a length of dirty cord. Straight ahead were 4 overflowing plastic garbage cans, the 32-gallon kind you could buy at Walmart. Behind them, stacked against the shed wall, were what looked like 5 years' worth of Uncle Henry's swap guide. To the left was another door, up a single step. It would lead to the kitchen. It had an old-fashioned latch rather than a knob. The door squalled on unoiled hinges when she depressed the latch and pushed it open. An hour ago, such a squall would have terrified her into immobility. Now it didn't bother her in the slightest. She had work to do. That was all it came down to, and it was a relief to be free of all that emotional baggage. She stepped into the smell of whatever greasy meat little driver had fried for his supper. She could hear a TV laugh track. Some sitcom. Seinfeld, she thought. What the hell are you doing here? Lester Stroke called from the vicinity of the laugh track. I ain't got but a beer and a half left, if that's what you came for. I'm gonna drink up and then go to bed. She followed the sound of his voice. If you'd 'a called, I coulda saved you the TR. She came into the room. He saw her. Tess hadn't speculated on what his reaction might be to the reappearance of his last victim, carrying a gun and wearing the hat Lester himself wore when his urges came over him. Even if she had, she could never have predicted the extremity of the one she saw. His mouth dropped open, and then his entire face froze. The can of beer he was holding dropped from his hand and fell into his lap, spraying foam onto his only article of clothing, a pair of yellowing jockey shorts. He's seeing a ghost, she thought as she walked toward him, raising the gun. Good. There was time to see that, although the living room was a bachelor mess and there were no snow globes or cutie poo figurines, the TV watching setup was the same as the one at his mother's house on Lacemaker Lane, the lazy boy, the TV tray, here holding a final unopened can of Pabst Blue Ribbon and a bag of Doritos instead of Diet Coke and cheese doodles, the same TV guide, the one with Simon Cowell on it. You're dead, he whispered. No, Tess replied. She put the barrel of the lemon squeezer against the side of his head.